Okay.
All right. I think we're live.
Yay.
All right, let's see here. Let me make sure, doubly sure before we start talking.
Yeah, get halfway through and realize like, whoops.
Yeah, that there was a problem. Okay, no, it looks like we are good to go. All right, so everybody, welcome. Although it looks like it might be glitching a little. Nope, we're good. All right, so welcome. I'm Sally Love, and this is Joshua Martin, and I'm so excited I get to bring him here, and you guys get to learn all about Joshua. So hello, Joshua.
Hello. Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Sally.
So, and I know I kind of said this earlier on my Facebook story, but so Joshua is one of my favorite people.
Aw,
And
thank you.
he already knows that. But anyway, I'll say I'll say that for all of you too. So yeah, do you want to, I guess, just go ahead and get started a little, just to tell everybody a little bit about you, as much as you want, just about what you do and just that kind of thing, and then we'll go from there with some questions.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So my name's Joshua Martin. I mainly do channeled readings, and so that comes through specifically. I like working with tarot cards and an oracle deck that I use to channel past lives. So yeah, those are kind of my main focuses, but I also do a lot of work with crystal guardians and crystal beings, facilitating full body crystal healings, crystal grids.
Mhm.
I like teaching classes on how to work with crystals, as well as guided meditations and different journey work. So I really like just expanding what it is that I think I'm capable of doing and trying out a little bit of everything to help myself first, and then use those gifts, abilities to try and help other people too. Really focusing just on helping hold up as clear a mirror I can to the people around me and the people I work with to help them see themselves as clearly as possible.
Nice. Yeah, well, I have been lucky enough to receive many, let me just say, be on the receiving ends of many of your giftings. And yeah, if you're looking for a past life reading, but the thing is that what you do, I mean, as long as you set an intention, Joshua, you get information, not just
Right.
past lives, but the past life stuff from you is very complete.
Well, and
in my experience,
we're coming to a point where at least the people that I'm starting to attract and seeing, especially other healers, are coming to a point where people are kind of like, wait, I thought I've worked through all of my like embodied stuff. Like, why are different, triggers or trauma responses coming up? Because I've, done all the detailing of my past, and I've done all the shadow work within this lifetime. So what's going on? And then it's like, oh, there's all these other lifetimes that we're coming in and we're trying to clear and close out and bring all of these multidimensional fractals of ourselves back into wholeness. So it's like, you got to start tapping into, you don't have to, but if you want to keep growing at this point, we're being called to take a look at, who we are, who we currently are in different dimensions, and all these other soul ties that we have, or even blood ties.
right? Well, and I know that for me, I'm gonna share just a little tiny something.
Yeah.
But like I know that we have done a lot of work, at least for me, in this exact, what you're just saying, and like even spelling, these vows that we have made in past lives. I mean, a lot of that we're just recreating, and
Right.
so we have to know what happened. What
Yeah.
do we need to? What are we bringing
Where
in? I don't
is
want that.
that first step?
Mhm.
And like one of my favorite examples to share is a woman I worked with a couple weeks ago at a physical fair. she like had a really hard time speaking in front of people, which isn't altogether uncommon, but it was like specifically large groups or like groups of men. And so she wasn't sure, like, where is this coming from? And she didn't even initially ask about that, but it came up during the reading that she was like part of a traveling harem across the desert in a merchant guild sort of thing. And there was physical punishment. There was abuse that would happen if she spoke out of turn or spoke in public in front of other people. She was like, oh, because that makes sense. Like within this lifetime, there wasn't anything that happened, maybe helps add to that. But
Right.
we come in and our soul learns these coping mechanisms or learns these ways of being that at the time when it wasn't previously incarnated or in other lifetimes that worked, that kept it safe, that were like a valuable skill to hold on to and bring into each incarnation. But I mean, what the era and the age that we're living in is so different. I mean, from incarnation to incarnation, so much changes, and it's almost like with our soul like can't quite catch up or let go of everything that it thought. It's like overpacking for something. It's got too much stuff it tried to bring in that it thought was going to be needed, and we're just reevaluating a lot of that, of like, what is my soul holding on to, what is my body holding on to,
Right.
what is my consciousness carrying that's still weighing it down, that maybe we thought we needed, and some of it we might still be helpful to hold on to. But there's a lot of cleansing and clearing out on deep soul levels that tapping into those Akashic records, tapping into those past lives can be really helpful to just take that first step. Like, where is this resentment being held? Where is this betrayal? Where is this maybe it's pain in your body or trauma? Yeah, when did this
all these patterns and I'm like, what the heck? I'm not consciously bringing this in. What in the world is driving
right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many different parts of ourselves that it's like, where within me, where within, my soul family, my soul grouping, where is this being held? And sometimes that comes up too, where it's not like, because I see a distinction in past lives where people have like a soul connection to the past life, where it's like not necessarily of this earth or of this planet, but it's like that same soul identity, that soul personality is still like quantumly connected. But oftentimes people have like a blood tie where like, no, the physical body you're in like is still encoded, still remembers being this, personality that comes through from thousands of years ago. And that's what needs to be cleansed. And that's going to be more of the ancestral trauma, more of the like breaking the family cycles. But it can overlap where it's not just, it's not just the physical body. It's these soul ties. I had a woman the other day who like was scared of the ocean, and she was on one of the Sirius planets that's all underwater and went through one of its falls of consciousness. And so her body wasn't able to survive that transition. And so she died on that planet. And every lifetime that she has incarnated on Earth, she has had that fear of the ocean and has had that fear reaffirmed, where then someone drowned or she had a close family member she lost. And so there's these themes, these patterns that get it set in when we weren't even on this earth, when we weren't even on this planet, that we just keep looping in because our soul's like, oh, I died in water, billions of years ago on a whole other timeline. And I need to keep that because what hurt me once might potentially hurt me again. So it's like this trauma response on a soul level.
Yep.
There's a lot going on, and it can seem overwhelming at first. It can be like, wait, I have to do all this past life stuff, and it can be really quick. It can be really easy. And because it's all about what can I learn from, in the way I work at least, it's all about like what can I learn from this past life that will help me shift and transition in this. I'm I My focus is specifically on helping people do the work through this, not just like let's have a fun story. I mean, oftentimes it is fun, and there is that weaving a story that really comes through and really connects with people. But it's not necessarily just accumulating all of these stories. It's what can this story bring to help me shift, to jump, to level up.
And you are a fantastic storyteller. I mean, sit there with the cards and to have this story unfold, because I know I've been there many times with you. But it's more than that, at least with what you do, because there is this healing aspect once
Yeah,
you have the whole story in front of you, and then you are able to move energy with that person in a way that is like lasting. So
yeah,
anyway, that's one of the really cool things I find about you, and the work at least that you're doing around that. But I mean crystals too. But that with the readings, and whether it be past life or like I look at it kind of like problem solving, like
yeah.
problems that were anybody is. If I have a problem, guess who I call? I call you. And but we're able to look through what in the world is going on, and sometimes
Right.
it's not even anything that either of us would have imagined.
Right. Well, that's part of the fun too, when you're like, oh, what's going on with this? And I'm like, I don't know, like let's check it out. And sometimes I try and check myself as much as possible to not come in with a preconceived notion. But sometimes I'm like, oh, I think it's this, and I read it out and I'm like, oh, it is, way I just way something totally different. And I mean that's part of the fun, is that it's not just it's not a mental thing. It's a like, let me relax and let go, and what comes up will come up. Um, but I just wanted to touch real quickly on what you were saying about, yeah, the problem solving. With doing the past life reading specifically, but all the readings that I do, I really focus on this, bringing that perspective of like, okay, let's kind of take a step back and see this as a whole, which is why, especially when I do like tarot readings, people kind of come in with questions or things they want to ask more specifically with the tarot readings than they do the past life readings. Um, and I always make sure to start with like a really clear, a really thorough, like energetic roadmap of like, what in the past are you connected to? How is this influencing you? What are you processing right now in the present? And where is that going to take you the most probable future? Because oftentimes when people come in with a specific question, I'm sure other readers do fantastic jobs answering those, but it's like maybe that question isn't really going to give you the full picture, or you that's what you like what we are saying. It's what you think you want to know, or you think it's going to be this one thing, but really the healing, the shift in awareness is somewhere totally different. So when you have that fully fleshed out like foundation, then you can ask the question because you understand how everything is going to connect.
So would you call what you do then like shadow work?
It's definitely a piece of it. Yeah. I mean, I have done so much work and still have more to do, but a lot of work on my own trauma. And so I feel like I've got a nice foundation, a really good container for holding space to walk people through that. Um, as much as they're either able to or willing to, or as long as our paths continue working together. Um, so yeah, I mean, I do a lot of different things because I mean, all of it can happen at the same time. I mean, it can be
Right.
shadow work and light work and inner child stuff and quantum healing and soul. Um,
Well, I just
you know,
know shadow work is like this whole thing, that everybody's wanting to talk about right now. But that's my knowing too, is that it can be woven into everything. Although
yeah,
the thing about shadow work, which, you and John and we all know that those deeper things like that tend to not reveal themselves to the one that
Yeah.
is dealing with it. And so it's always, at least in my knowing, it's really nice to either have a great deck of cards that you can mess with, like if you want to do it yourself, or
Yeah.
you can call somebody and have them help you to see these different themes or whatever aspects are like eluding.
But yeah, I mean, shadow it's very tricky, and it's really good at hiding because that's what it's been doing lifetimes after lifetimes. I mean, and yeah, there's a shadow I feel like gets a bad rap sometimes as like oh, this icky negative part of ourselves. And really I see shadow power. I mean, it's that really intense sacral energy. It's this like this part of ourselves that we don't want to be powerful. I mean, we say we do, but power, it's scary, and it's hard stepping into our power. So shadow work is all about like accepting this scary thing that we don't want. And it doesn't have to take time, but it often takes time because we've put up so many walls, so many blocks, and I'm speaking for myself as well, to not see it.
Well, and I know that, even when I'm working with you, it's like I can always tell when it is shadow, like deep shadow.
Yeah.
I get this feeling of dread, and it's not rational. There's
No.
nothing rational about it, but it's like, oh my gosh. Um, it's like I want to run. Like and it's like over the time that I've been doing this, it's like, no, this is the
Yes.
indicator. You are
It was it.
about to do something amazing. It's like, just
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah. And so when people I see people do like shadow work, and I've even experienced people who are like, oh yeah, I got rid of it. I did it. I finished. I got rid of my shadow. It's like,
Mm.
whoa, like it's this beautiful part of yourself, and you don't need to think it's beautiful now, but it is a part of you. And there's corruption stuff going on, and
Mhm.
different like astral fragments that are like GMOs messing with the shadow, and changing it up, so it's not always entirely naturally you, but it is still you. um
But it's more a matter of integrating it and like
yeah.
shining a light in the shadow and being like, oh, it's just accepting and
Yeah.
allowing, and like that's what I see it like. Doing that allows for wholeness, versus fracturing yourself up into a bazillion pieces.
Right,
So,
which all of us are dealing with soul fragmentation on some level. I mean, my goodness,
right?
even just in the fact that our souls are so big, they can't, the whole oversoul can't fit in this one vessel. Even just all our personalities spread across time, space, dimension is fragmentation. It's not necessarily bad or not good either, but so then if we take a already kind of smaller piece of this giant, infinitely large soul, and then keep splitting it up, it starts fading to stardust, and we're losing that magic, we're losing that power. We're running out of pixie dust.
Right. Right on. Yeah. So I'll put your contact information down in the comments when we're finished, in case
So,
anybody wants to schedule one of
yeah.
these amazing appointments with you. Let's see, what else was I was gonna ask you. There's a couple things. I was just gonna ask about your origins, if you wanted to talk about
Yeah,
that. It's up to
sure.
you. And then also grounding. There I have like 5 questions, but so
Great.
whichever way you want to go. I was going to ask you about your best practices regarding grounding, because I know you're really good at it, and I'm sure you can help people with that. So
Sure. So I'll start a little bit with my origins and kind of how I've gotten to the point where I am now.
okay.
So I've been doing this work specifically in the container that I do it now for about 3 years. But really my whole life, there were these moments of like really clear, like lucid channeling that I didn't even realize that's what it was. I remember talking to friends, back in high school and being like, oh, when I just like shut off my brain and let myself talk, I come up with some really profound things that I didn't even know I knew that, because it wasn't, it was a knowing, but not a mental thing. So really the working with tarot and working with the cards just helped me consciously do it and do it in a container. And it's not necessarily something I need to work with in that way. I enjoy working with the cards as that specific container, that specific reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just realizing that all these different abilities that just seemed like natural ways of being, which they were more than what I thought they were, and really like elevating the way that I perceive myself and how I work. But yeah, at the start of all the craziness in 2022, I quit my job working as a server. I moved out to Mount Shasta with my partner John and our two pups, and started traveling the country in a camper van, and was gifted a tarot deck and just started like practicing every day, pulling a card, and started out in a very mental way. Originally working with cards was all about like, oh, I need to understand this instead of surrendering and trusting into the process and what it looks like. So I mean, that's been a huge part of my journey, is just like letting go the need to know. Like, I don't need to know, and if I need to know, I'll know it when I need to. And so yeah, started working with tarot, practicing, giving readings. And then it wasn't until about 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half, I was scrolling on my phone or something. I don't even know how I found it, but found this oracle deck that was being created on Kickstarter. And I found it and I was like, whoa, something about this is just really calling to me. And you know how Kickstarters are, it took like a year for me to actually get the deck. And as soon as I got it and was reading through, I saw a small little section of the booklet that was like, oh, and by the way, this can be used to do past life reading. I was like, boom, like electric lightning struck me. I was like, oh, I need to be doing that. I don't know how, I don't know what that looks like. I didn't know much about past lives at all. And that's even still something that comes up of, there's a lot of information and details that come through that I mentally don't know about. Like I had a reading the other day, all about this woman who was like enslaved in Egypt during, the kind of biblical times, and like was giving her all these details, and it was a blood tie. So she, like, it was something that was connected to her physical body. And she had actually done a lot of research on that sort of stuff before. And so afterwards was able to be like, yeah, all of that stuff you were saying, like, actually happened exactly in those ways. That was like the way like households were set up and how the people were, taken advantage of. And it was like, oh, like, that's just how it feels. That's just
Right.
what it feels like. And especially with a lot of the star seed stuff too. Like, I don't personally know a lot about star seeds, but I know which star seeds feel like what energy. And then it's like, oh, takes me off into that planet in that direction. So it's not a mental thing. And oftentimes the thinking gets in the way because it just fuddles the channel. But yeah, so started doing past life readings. I think you were one of my first.
Yeah,
Wait.
well, and you got me one of, because you got me one of those decks at the same
Oh
time.
yeah.
So I have one of those too. But yeah, those Kickstarter decks, that's if you want to support new and upcoming
Yeah.
artist decks, it's amazing.
Oh, the cards are so much fun, and there's so many different decks out there, and there's like an amazing fit for everybody in some way.
Yeah, I think I was one of your first.
Yeah.
Is it a 22 card spread or something like that?
Yeah, the really long one that's like every aspect of your personality, and like such a fine sieve to kind of like filter through and be like, okay, what pieces are we missing? And then once we find them all, how do we fit them together back into wholeness?
Yeah, that was a cool reading.
Yeah, and so that's kind of my most recent story. I mean, I've definitely got like my fair share of childhood trauma. That is what initially brought me out on this path, was like, I can't keep doing this. That was what it really came down to, was like, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm numbing, I'm distracting myself, I'm checking out, I'm not happy in the life that I'm living, but I don't know how to get perspective, how to get out of it. And I was starting to do some of that on my own. And uh, there's some saying that's like, when you're ready to learn, a teacher will appear. Like, once I was ready for that is when I met my current partner, John, and he kind of helped, you know, blast everything open. He does emotional integration work and is a really powerful channeler as well. And I wouldn't be where I am today without him. And so we helped each other really grow and shift and accelerate and kind of jump up to working where we are today. Um, and yeah, so I mean, doing a lot of that shadow work, a lot of that trauma work, initially just, by myself and within my relationship, is kind of what led me to finding my own unique way of channeling and um, trying to help people and being of service. And I try and do that in a way that's as all encompassing of all of the parts of myself as possible. I know we were talking a couple of days ago about um, at least what I've been seeing, doing a lot of different events and meeting other healers, is that there are a lot of healers working in spaces where they disconnect from certain parts of themselves because of this belief that it will help them be more objective or more clear, or help them heal other people. And I think, I know
Yeah.
that we need all parts of ourselves in integrity, and that's what makes us powerful. That's what makes our healing, our channeling, our ways of being of service and helping each other better. It's not like, oh, I need to cut off the human stuff and the shadow stuff and just be this sixth dimensional being, or just being this higher self. Or it's bringing all of that into the physical, bringing everything from underneath us up, and really meeting like right there in that sweet spot in the center, where all parts of ourselves, right, are just like radiating outwards. Not I mean, and I'm sure can still be powerful healing done from that disconnection, but yeah, but I want to work in a way that's as authentic to myself, and myself being all of these parts of me, not just get rid of the lower vibrational or the lower density, which isn't bad and is necessary. I know it's necessary to really ground those energies into reality, because you can have a really lovely upper etheric, higher, sort of healing or energy readings, but if it doesn't penetrate all the way down, it's just going to float away. It's not going to really create or help shift change. So I work in a really personal way, connect as deeply with myself in those moments and as deeply with other people in those moments. And that can be scary too. I mean, for myself and the other people, it's like, whoa, this is not just, a lot of people come in with these like preconceptions that it's going to be like a lot of story stuff, and some story stuff comes through, especially with the past life. That's part of the fun, is weaving the emotional and the patterns with the story. But with the tarot, it's your energy. It's not your story. I'm reading like what you're holding on to and what you're connected to in these moments. And so being seen is scary. It doesn't have to be, but if you've gone so long without being seen, and I work with people who are really good at hiding, and they think they're done. They're like, no, I've done all the work. I'm finished. And then I'm pulling cards and reading their energy, and I'm like, there's still stuff. You've done the work. You've done a lot of work, and we can acknowledge that, and we can take a break Like if you're not ready to keep going into it, take a break, honor what you've done, where you are. And then if you want to keep going, keep going. But we're kind of at a point where you either level up or you fall back asleep. And those are the two options that I'm really seeing is like you keep doing the work.
Right.
And it's okay to have those moments where you slip back or maybe you fall asleep for a second. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. But
Right.
there's a lot of, whether it's pressure or expectations or just this really dense collective consciousness that is trying to get people to go back to sleep. Don't see this. Don't see yourself. Don't be aware. Don't wake. There's all this compression.
Externalize is like the word that keeps, it keeps trying to get you not to look within, and
Yeah,
I know you and I were talking the other day, but it is this thing that I know my perspective is that I will not be done. Like, and
yeah.
that's like what I know is that as
Well,
long as you're breathing, I'm still going to
and
be learning.
we can create that shift too, where it's like that doesn't have to be a negative thing. A
Oh, it's
lot of people are
it's
like,
not for me.
I know it's not for you, but a lot of people are like,
Oh,
oh, there's more. Like, when are we going to be done? And it's like, well, what's your definition of done? Like, what's the finish line you're trying to get to? Because if it's bringing everything together and being completely whole and in integrity, like we've had billions of years of fracturing happening in this universe matrix, like and
right.
especially working from a linear time scale, it might take a little while, and that's okay. And I mean, I love it. And there's curiosity has been the best friend through the whole process of like, let me get curious about this and the why and the what's going on and what's the underlying. And I think that can be really powerful, is that mindset shift of like, oh my gosh, I'm not done yet. Like I get to do more. There's more to do. And it doesn't have to be scary or painful or any of those things. It can be fun, and it can be dense, and it can be heavy, but that doesn't
feel great, but
right,
that's okay. I mean, what? I'm not here to feel great.
right.
It does feel great sometimes.
Yeah, of course. And so then now I guess I'll shift to some of those methods I use for grounding.
Yes, please.
Definitely a lot of work with really setting and holding space has been like a really important part of my practice. And I do that a lot with working with crystal beings. But crystals are again can be an aspect of externalization. So it's really, you don't have to be, but I like to be careful with the reliance on crystals. Like, yes, ask for help, but if I'm not doing something because I'm now expecting this crystal to always do it for me. But specifically, I work with selenite and obsidian a lot. I mean, those are amazing space holder crystals. Obsidian really creating like a little bubble, so I can really focus on my own energies, filter out outside stuff, keep it outside, open up. Because a lot of people, they'll open up, but there's not a safe container for them to do it. So it's like if you're doing like surgery and you're operating in a non-sterile room, you're going to pick up stuff. You're going to pick up infections or things that want to be inside of you. So I know it's really important to create that space, set sacred space before you do some of that intense shadow work. So it's cleansing your room. It's using some smudge sprays. And Sally has wonderful essential oils and plant companions that can help kind of get energy moving and get some of the just debris that's floating around, all this psychic debris that just is hanging out. Get that out of the way.
So do you.
Yeah. So definitely grounding, working with some stuff. Really, I like working with stones like that are really dense energy and then also really high vibrational energy. So that's why I like selenite and obsidian, but something to help kind of bring you down, bring you into the physical, bring you into your body, and then something to help bring or channel energy into that space so that you can help open it up and create some more yes, just some more space to go into it. So definitely meditation has been a big part of grounding. Doing like shamanic journey work, working with drums and going on vision quests has been a really powerful way to ground. um Laying on the ground, that's been coming in, like, oh wait, our bodies have this electrical connection to the earth and these natural systems of releasing toxins, releasing all sorts of stuff, um, that we've developed over the millions and billions of years that we've been even just on this planet,
Right.
of like, hey, let's take advantage of these natural processes. um, and I guess my in every moment I try and do as much as possible is really bringing down and visualizing like either white light or clear source and just flowing in through my crown, this natural portal we have into our bodies, and bringing it all the way, not just even into my root, but all the way through me into the earth. And then doing the reverse of bringing those dense earth star energies up. Because just as important as it is to bring higher vibration down, it's important to bring dense energies up. And because that bridge, that flow, is the way we can walk and embody Trinity energy, where we have our heart as this beautiful portal to these like higher aspects of self. We have the crown bringing through source energies. We've got the root bringing up these earth energies. We create these Trinity expressions and really clear out our own channels, can help clear our body, bring clarity into how we work, how we see, how we move within this physical dimension.
Well, and I know I mean, doing exactly what you're saying is also being in service.
Yeah.
We are running this energy, you know. It was interesting. I had this knowing not too long ago that there were a lot of us that were actually pulling up out of Mother Earth, and we actually were able to be the release valve for, there was this whole timeline that, anyway, I won't really talk about it much, but
Yeah.
we were able to, by doing that, all as individuals, we were able to shift the timeline enough so that there didn't need to be some mass reset. There was
Right.
already a pressure release by us, going in deep. And so, when we get the nudge, I mean, at least I get the nudge. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
go sit down on the earth. Go take off all your shoes. Go spend some time. And that's and I think a lot of us get that little nudge around
Yeah.
the same time to go do that in
And
service.
if you need help doing it, I mean, that's what the trees are doing right now. That's what they're always doing. I did a past life regression a couple years ago where I was this tree consciousness. And I remember understanding and knowing that the most important thing that I could do was bringing light into my vessel, seeding it into the earth, and then bringing up these dense earth energies and sending it up to higher dimensions. And that was the most important thing. And so we have the ability to do the same thing, but we're not rooted in one space. We can go around, I mean, and grid the whole planet and move and have that freedom. So if you ever need help doing it and don't know what that looks like or feels like, go put your back against a tree, ask it for help, ask it to show you how to do it. And I think that's a big thing that I see a lot is people maybe not necessarily understanding that there is all this help available to you, but you need to ask for it. I mean, it's consent is law, especially as you move up in frequencies and as you move up in dimensions. Those boundaries get even more and more clear, and those beings are more respectful of consent. And so it's working with angels, it's working with tree beings, it's working with spirit guides, it's working with power animals. If that's something you're interested in, start asking for signs. Obviously using your discernment, be like, anyone who wants to come in and help me, like
Probably
best,
not.
best highest good or specific intentions you might have. I'm doing a lot of dream work right now, so asking for symbols and signs and messages and healing and activations to come through in dream time. Especially as all these intense energies with the sun are coming through, having that flip where our subconscious and our more moon energies can do processing as well in the background, in dream time, in not in the waking moments, can be just as profound as doing intense shadow work in the physical while you're awake.
Right. And I mean, it kind of takes the edge off. I mean, and
Yeah.
I say that because a lot of people have been feeling very edgy.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
it's very intense times
Well, it's,
energetically.
yeah, I think pressure cooker was a really good metaphor for that. And releasing some of the pressure helps, but it's still cooking. I mean, it doesn't stop the process. Um, and so learning how to adapt, and sometimes what works one day doesn't work the next day.
Yeah.
And
So a lot of people I've been seeing, they're like, well, wait, you know what? They were in a routine, and I will say a spiritual routine. And
right.
don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But you have to understand that as this energy increases, you are going to have to shift it up. We have to shift it up.
Yeah.
And so we are learning from each other. That's part of the reason that I'm even doing this, is
Yay.
because we're learning from each other new things to try. And what works
Right.
for somebody else, try it, see if it works.
Well, and especially now as we're breaking and clearing cycles, I mean, sometimes it is something that we're doing 12 years ago that was bad, bad then, or didn't feel good then, that now you're ready for. And so now it's time to shift into that. And maybe you're just too early. I mean, specifically, John and I are shifting our diets, and
I was
that
going to ask you about food. So, yes. How did you know what questions I was going to ask?
I'm pretty intuitive, Sally.
Oh, you think so?
And so, I've before now I was like on a vegetarian vegan diet for like 8 years. Um, and that was something that I guess like morally or mentally felt good, but on a physical level, I don't know if I even had the awareness or the attunement to realize that like this didn't necessarily feel good or wasn't necessarily like feeding my body. And so that's a thing now where it's like we were saying, it's either level up or go back to sleep. It's not enough to just survive in the physical. We need to start getting, we don't need to, but I want to
I want
get
to
to,
thrive.
right, exactly. And if the body is not thriving, if the body is not on these, really invigorating, vitalizing, like life-giving energies, then it's going to be easier to plateau. It's going to be harder to level up consciousness because all this integration that you're doing through food is going to bring you down, and that's fine if you're consciously doing that. But it's like what we're saying with the GMOs. It's not necessarily naturally
Right.
consciousness that's able to be integrated.
Well, and our food has shifted so much. I mean, what's
Yeah.
available to us unless we're growing it ourselves and finding the seeds that are
Right.
messed up.
And so, yeah, food right now has been a really big thing of like, what are these? Food is a dense energy and an aspect of grounding. And so using that in a conscious way. So shifting away from a lot of those kind of mental food energies, the sugars, the carbs, the grains, a lot of the stuff that I don't want to use like paleo diet, but kind of more towards that of like natural whole foods. But even it can be tricky with plants now because so many plants, especially the superfoods, are being brought in, but the body wasn't necessarily designed or meant to process those or eat those in large amounts. I mean,
That's the large amounts, and that's just it. I mean, you're not going to exist only on spinach. I mean,
Right.
you can, but you're going to have a reaction. Like, I mean, you guys, we've talked about spinach,
Yeah.
in particular.
And so a lot of these plants that, you know, maybe hundreds of years ago, the natural ways that people would cultivate them, it was wild, it was small amount, or it was a crop divided between the entire village. So everybody got their little bit. Versus like now, like it was a thing where John and I were eating a lot of quinoa because it's a complete vegetable protein and it's so healthy. Um, but that would be, we'd have a whole bowl of it and it'd be our meal. And as we have now gone back and kind of shifted more towards like a plant, whole plants, keto, we're doing like grass-fed organic meats in like small amounts of like 3 to 6 ounces a day. We've transitioned Kieran and Whaler, our two pups, onto, you know, a more whole plants and whole meat diet. I've noticed huge improvements in mood, in awareness, in functioning. And then when we do eat, it's easier to integrate those energies and really work with the densities and not feel stuck in it, but feel like more of a gradual shift into it.
Yeah, and I know. So talk about fasting.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit about, so John and I, we do fasting. So every 2 weeks, so twice a month, we do a 48-hour fast. And then about every other month, we do a 72-hour fast, sometimes longer, but that's kind of like the baseline. We live in a society, we live in a culture that is literally force fed us this belief that we need to eat 3 meals a day, or sometimes it's like, oh, you need 5 small meals a day and you need to eat all throughout the day. And we're just overloading our body. I mean, I think it's like 40 to 60% of our energy goes into breaking down food. So if you're eating all day, 60% of your energy is locked up in this digestion. Where's the way that that energy can show up in your life? It's busy doing other background tasks. It's like a computer with all this stuff always processing.
Well,
And so
what a lot of people are eating is then making them feel even more dense, and the brain fog and all of the other things. So there's a lot of
yeah,
reasons that we are told to eat at least 3 meals a day.
right.
I mean,
And especially with all the carbs, all the sugars, all of the like addictive chemicals that is in food now, it and we don't learn how to feed ourselves well. We don't learn nutrition from an unbiased perspective. We learn nutrition from a, you know, eat what we're trying to give you and eat all this,
from the
you know,
Dairy Coalition. And
right.
I mean, that's who funds all of those charts that we learn about in elementary school.
And it's not from happy grass-fed cows with no RBST and unpasteurized raw milk. It's their, you know, streamlined, chemically processed and heated up, and all the life is choked out of it.
Right.
So, but with fasting,
One example, but yeah.
yeah. So with fasting, it gives us this opportunity on a consciousness level and on a body level to really just take a pause and stop and let, specifically on a body level, it helps us move into a state of autophagy, where now that your body is not just digesting, it can start doing the things that it naturally knows how to do to heal you. And it can start going through and cleaning up. It's like, you know, if you're working a 9 to 5 job 7 days a week, you're not going to necessarily clean your house or do your laundry or be able to keep up with this massive task of running a home and working and having social life. It's that if there's no balance between like when are my days off and when can I just like relax,
Right.
and then start to rebuild, start to heal, start to take care of the stuff that is constantly just getting piled on top of. So fasting gives us a really amazing opportunity to take a pause, to start to help our body take a look at what's even happening inside me. I mean, like, it's like that, you're so busy working, it's like, oh, I didn't even know there's this cancer cell or these, you know, infections or parasites or whatever, until we stop eating, we stop feeding that addiction, that looping, and then our body can start to heal itself. It knows how. We just sometimes need to get out of its way, and we think we're helping it by eating, and we think we need energy, and if we run out, oh my gosh. But I mean, I'm fairly lean, but I've still got fat that like is gonna fuel me if I need to. Like, we're not gonna starve by fasting. And we've
Well,
been fed this belief that we're gonna starve, and oh my gosh, if you don't eat for a week, you're gonna die. Or, oh, if you don't eat for 3 days, like, that's really bad, it's gonna ruin your metabolism. I've done, 4-day fast. I still eat, like, there's no problem with what's going on in my digestion, but there's this belief that it's unhealthy, or like, oh, it's really bad to not eat.
and so I mean, I think I started intermittent fasting probably in 2018, and it wasn't intentional. Like a lot of the things that I do are intuitive. And so I mean, it wasn't planned necessarily. I just was like tuning more into my body and like, well, no, I'll just eat when so I usually fast, around 16 hours
Yeah.
every day. And I
Yeah.
don't do the long fast like you, although I keep getting the nudge, like maybe I should try that, but I feel great.
Yeah.
I do have to eat, for me, around 16, 17 hours, or I start to get hangry. But
Yes.
that's just my own body. But for a long time, people are like giving me a hard time. And I'm like,
Right.
you don't understand. This feels really good for me.
Well, there's such a culture around food, and
I love eating too, but yeah, it's like,
yeah, and there's a lot of I mean, and even up here, I'm not trying to preach or soapbox,
no,
but
but yeah. Well, you guys
every
have done a lot of this, and a lot of this is channeled, and this is what works for you. And I like,
yeah,
especially the shifting. That's one of the things that I love about you and John, and with what you're eating, is that you guys have allowed whatever feels good,
yeah,
even if it means shifting away from veganism, which, I mean, I think is pretty amazing that you guys
yeah,
have done that, because that seems like it's a real ingrained belief
yeah,
system. And I kind of look at eating, and like I look at most things, like the more restrictive you're going to be, not so great. It's kind of like,
right,
as you, at least as you expand in consciousness, you will find that you will be not so restrictive with a lot of it.
yeah.
At least
Well,
that's what I know.
and it's as we work on healing ourselves and shifting, it's not even going to necessarily feel like restriction, like
Right.
not eating some of that. Like, there's a lot of stuff now, even when I'm like, maybe not being as strict as I'm on vacation right now. Someone's like, oh, do you want these potato chips? And I'm like, oh, no. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
like, I used to love those, like, cracked pepper and sea salt, like, kettle cooked potato chips. And now I'm just like, ugh. Like, my body is like, no, I don't want that. We're shifting out of that. And so I guess that's been the biggest thing, is like more attunement to, like, what does my body want? And the body has been suppressed for so long as not being a part of the process. And we are here, in my knowing and in my journey, to connect with body and really create this understanding. And the body does so much for us that now we have this beautiful opportunity to provide it with what it's asking for. And it's just, in my opinion, it's just as important as shadow work. It's just as important as inner child work,
Right.
is listening and respecting this biological vessel that is intelligent. It has its own awareness outside of consciousness. It's this symbiotic relationship, and we've been taught to just steamroll over that. I mean, as a society,
And to really see the body as an indicator. I mean, all
yeah,
of this,
it's an antenna.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's what, and that same message has been coming in for me, especially lately. Like, there is no being spiritual. It is about bringing all of that into this physical form and
Yeah.
enjoying like all of the aspects of being physical.
Well, and that this physical form has its own inherent spirituality. Like, we don't even that there's a lot of it is also letting what's already in the body come out,
Right.
and not even necessarily. I mean, because on an electromagnetism level, our body is radiating these auric fields that have nothing to. I mean, obviously, there's a relationship between consciousness and the body, but the body's just doing that. It's got its own natural processes of running energy that, as we can work with, we can help each other spiritually run energy, consciousness wise shift, but also body's already doing a lot of that stuff where it's already, the codes and the keys are already there. We just kind of need to peek through the curtain and start respecting what body wants, what body is trying to tell us. I mean, that comes through a lot of times in readings where someone's like, oh, I'm having this health problem. Like, how do I fix it? And it's, health problems are really complex and really complicated because they're not just do this one thing to fix it. It's like, what's the message? In the same way that a shadow work is. It's not just like, well, this is how you fix your triggers or your traumas. It's like, what's the message? What is the way that you're coping that is maybe that's the symptom. That's why you're bringing it up, but it's not about the pain. It's not about the symptoms. It's about why is this message being relayed in the first place?
Right.
And so as we clear out, as we clear out the gunk of all of these maybe perceived negative messages, we realize like, oh, there are positive messages. Body has like powerful intuitive wisdom, joy, feeling healthy, feeling calm, feeling rejuvenated, feeling rested, all these beautiful things that as we listen are just naturally going to flow through. So yeah, fasting is a really great way to kind of reset. If you don't know what to do or how to start kind of taking control of your health, even just a day, anyone can go one day without eating. It's not hard. I mean, it is hard, but you can.
It's
you
more
can,
mental though, right?
right. It's this like, oh, I need to eat. I'm not going to be okay if I don't eat. It's, pick a day off, drink a lot of water, drink a lot of fluid, have some tea, but try one day. And then even if you only do that once a month, I mean, oh my goodness, you're gonna get so much. Just, I mean, even on a consciousness level, when we're coming to the end of a 72-hour fast, like the clarity of just like, it's so much easier to do energy work. And like what we were saying, channeling and bringing light down into the body and bring the earth energies up. Because there's this clarity in the center, this where the tummy is, of just like, whoop. There's not like, there's just less processing in other directions. So your intention can move quicker, move clearer, because body can help easier with that because it's not got 60% of its energy doing other stuff.
Right. I think what else I was going to ask you about. I was going to ask about meditation, but you already talked a little bit about that. I was going to ask also about what kind of advice you might have for somebody newly awakening. You kind of also covered a little bit, but I don't know if you want to add any more to that or.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say the most important thing in my opinion is discernment. And that can be so hard when you're first waking up. And I mean, a lot of healers, a lot of just everybody, they have their own agenda to push. So being really conscious of what you're aligning yourself with, as you're seeking out information, as you're seeking out help and support, of making sure that you understand where people's intentions are, what they want, what you want, of course, but what is the intention of why this information is being put out?
Right. Because
And
those
how
of
does
us that have been
it feel?
doing this for a while, we just know. But there's this thing of cultivating your own intuition at the very
Yeah,
beginning, and then trusting is a whole different deal. But
right.
it's like,
Because if you're coming from a trauma response and someone's trying to tell you like, oh no, this is the right answer, and if you don't feel that way, there's something wrong with you. And if you believe that,
yeah,
then you're just getting right back into the loop. So, I mean, if you're first waking up, just be really careful with what you accept and bring into your truth, because it's gonna, if and it's hard to just say, oh, go with what feels good, because it doesn't always feel good.
no. And especially
But
at the beginning, I mean, that whole process of actually feeling, I'm just gonna say
yeah,
this. I mean, it's a lot of us
I-
who were totally disconnected from our emotional everything. And so I would say that's one of the most important things, is to let people just let that flow,
yeah,
and to start to accept whatever those feelings are, and to cultivate your own like inner knowing. But yeah, to run everything through your own inner
yes,
guidance
yeah.
first
So what?
before you align with anything.
And so then I would say, like, bring those together. The best thing would be like, understand what truth feels like in your body, what truth feels like in your awareness, in your consciousness, and then have that as your discernment. Whether you trust it right away or not, that's, like you're saying, it's a whole other process. But if you, that's something I learned pretty early on, um, from some book. It was a Sandra Engelman book where she's like, close your eyes, go into your heart, and tell yourself a lie, and notice how your body feels when you lie. And I feel it as like just tight, like it's like it's a constriction. And then notice how your body feels when you tell the truth. And then notice, and for me, it feels like an openness, a levity. But everyone's going to have something different. Some people it turns into a color thing. Some people it's a sensation. Some people it. So I think that's would be my number one tip. It's really easy. Close your eyes and lie to yourself and notice how your body responds. And then if you're not sure if someone's telling the truth or not, then use that, run it through your body. That's like what we're saying, let body help you with this, because it knows, you just maybe need a help listening or hearing a little bit deeper. So
Yeah.
lie to yourself, see how you feel, see what your body responds with, and then tell yourself the truth and learn how the vibration of truth feels, and then use that to help you discern things.
Yeah.
Because the spiritual community is full of a lot of, I don't like false light, but a lot of sparkle. There's a lot of fluff and glitter and things that look good on the surface.
Well, there's a
But
lot of things that promote shame. And I'm going
yeah,
to say this. So, you're talking about, lie to yourself. I'm like, figure out how shame feels in your body. And for me, this was like very important, because for me, shame feels like it's in my face, and it feels like a hotness. And
yeah,
so when I hear people, and that's what they're, so that's a hook for a lot of spiritual healers, gurus, whatever,
oh yeah.
is to trigger this shame, so
There's
that
an
you
addiction to shame.
come back, and that way you keep coming back, and you keep seeing them, and you keep scheduling appointments. And then, the idea, at least for like people like Joshua and I, and a lot more, that is that you might come see us once and not need to come back again.
Yeah,
That's my goal.
my goal is that people, they get the keys, they get the tools that they need to be able to unlock themselves, because I can only show you,
Right.
I can show you what you're ready to see as much as you want to see. I can help write a little outline or a plan for what that next step looks like. But and this has come through, and maybe there's that fear connected to it, but we're doing a lot of this work on our own. and we can have help, we can have support, but we need to do the work in a really personal, individual way. And so having other people heal you can be a really giving away your power again, or shaming.
It's a temporary thing anyway.
Yeah.
My knowing. And I mean, as somebody who does energy healing, I understand it feels good. And if you
Yeah.
are cooperating, you know,
Right.
it can be longer, it can be more permanent. But a
Right.
lot of what I see are just temporary fixes. It's a feel good. And
Well, like
money.
prescription, like a prescription medicine. It's
Mhm.
we're getting rid of the symptom for sure. Yeah, like you can get Reiki and feel great, but if the blocks are still there, the limiting beliefs that attract that, or the stuck emotions that are pulling in these certain experiences, it's going to come back.
Right.
If you use the, the Reiki or the energy healing or whatever as, okay, now I've got perspective, I'm not in it, I can see it, let me work through it so it doesn't come back.
Well,
Great.
that's the part. That's what I tend to do. Even in,
Yeah.
I'm a talker, even through my sessions. I'm like, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Yeah. When I do a crystal healing, I'm channeling the whole time
yeah,
and trying to help guide the other person to releasing free themselves.
yeah. To shift perspective, which is, in my knowing, the whole deal here is all about
Yeah.
shifting our perspective anyway.
Yeah. Perspective is so important. And it's yeah, in a narrative sense, that's where the power is. I mean, getting people to believe this, that, or the other thing that's how they get your power. That's how you are giving away your powers, buying into other people's perspectives.
Right.
And whether it's nefarious or not, that it doesn't even matter.
Right.
And
Still
again,
doing
like
it anyway.
we were saying with healers, if you're newly awakening, and I was saying, watch out for other people's intentions or what they're trying to get you to buy into. It's if you're aligning yourself with someone else's perspective, it's just inherently out of integrity because it's not your own perspective. And it can help. It can be a stepping point. I'm not saying don't take little bits and pieces of what people are sharing.
Right. That's what I
But
do.
yeah, but making sure that you're not like, oh, I only believe this modality, or I only believe that this is the truth, or this book, or this teacher, or this one person. They're they're my connection to truth. I'm externalizing truth through this person or this being or this book or this idea.
Or put them on the guru pedestal and
Right.
and then not realize that they are just the same as all of us.
Yeah, because there's no hierarchy.
Yeah, there's no hierarchy. And that's the other, I mean, we're probably gonna have to start wrapping up, but that
Yeah.
is like the deal, right? There is no hierarchy, at least in my knowing.
Yeah,
And
mind knowing.
I mean, we're all masters.
Yeah, and I mean it's so like powerful working with clients and working with people and understanding and even letting them know, like, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to judge you or shame you or tell you what's right or what's wrong. I'm here to help you see yourself. I'm holding up a mirror.
Yeah.
But I mean, so many times I tell people, like, I'm just reminding you of what you already know. Because on those deeper levels, you know exactly what I'm saying. And you could channel that through for yourself. But I'm just helping you see you. But I'm not doing, the work. I am doing work.
Right.
But with that, it's helping people feel comfortable, helping them feel safe to be seen. But it's not like this is, oh, you have to do it. Or I mean, that's something I see too. I think unfortunate is healers who are like, oh, I'm the only one who does it the right way. And so you've got to come see me because all those other guys, oh, they're not doing it the right way. And so I guess that would be a good, for me, I guess, red flag if you're working or trying to find a healer to work with and they're telling you that, like, I mean, obviously if someone's proud of their abilities, that's fantastic. And if they're tooting their own horn, great. but other people don't need to be wrong for you to be right.
Yeah, if they are saying that, there's an issue with consciousness there. I mean, at least
There's a
that's what I've
conflict.
noticed.
Yeah,
Because those of us, we know that we are not the only ones
right.
that can have this,
Oh yeah,
and that every single person can.
is
Is
capable of that. Yeah.
and this is the other thing I wanted to say, like you were talking, it doesn't matter how long anybody's been awakening.
No.
And so, somebody could come up and be like, "Hey, I'm all of a sudden I'm channeling," and
Oh yeah.
and they could have a much clearer channel than even me.
Oh
So
my God. Yeah.
anyway, I love that you said that, because that's been one of the things that I've been struggling right now, is watching people, especially channelers. Well, I'm the best, I'm the only
Right.
one," and I'm
Well,
like,
and I get that. I mean, I'm only 22. I'll go to some events. I'm the youngest person there by 30 or 40 years. And someone will ask me, "Oh, how long have you been doing this?" And about 3 years. And they're like, "Oh, well, I've been doing it for 25 years."
"Oh, what?"
Right. Like,
Like,
great.
no.
Like, I'm glad, but
Yeah,
the people that I'm going to attract and are called to work with are just going to be different. And there's no competition because we're all trying to help each other.
right. But the length of time doesn't matter.
Because
Especially with the shifting that's happening now, the amount of time you've been doing anything, it's all changing now anyway.
what so
All of
like what we kind of started this off with about doing more past life work, time is only linear in this one dimension. And so you might have had 10,000 lifetimes where you were like the Oracle of Delphi or something, where you were channeling and visions. And so, I mean, when you clear up and open to these multidimensional aspects of self, whoop, when you clear up and open up to all these multidimensional aspects of self, like lifetimes, centuries, billions of years of information is accessible through your fingertips. And so I 100% agree with you. It doesn't matter how long it's been, because it's been so long that everybody has been doing this. And it's also been no time at all.
right.
So
Well, time is a construct.
right.
So, right. We
And so if you believe,
so that everybody can wake up and everybody can access their gifts.
if you believe that you need to be doing it for 10 years before you're valid, then it'll take you 10 years. But if you're able to release those limiting beliefs and just be like, and it took me, I would say it took me about 2 years of really getting into the nitty gritty and just reading after reading after reading and trusting. And because the biggest thing for me was trust.
Yeah, me too.
Trusting my intuition, trusting that, like, regardless of the spaces of people I'm going to encounter, that I'm going to be reliable, I'm going to be clear, that I'm going to be a foundation, a support system I can trust in, then the rest doesn't matter. And that'll come up too. I mean, with new healers, you're going to find people who don't like what you're saying. And how you process that and handle that is just as important, if not more, than the validation.
Right.
The validation is nice, but if then you're not getting that, and then you shut yourself down again, then just be wary of that. Be aware of that, because
right. Yeah. Value your own experience, whatever that is in that moment.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody talk you out of your own experience.
When even the human story experience is valid. I mean, a lot of times people will shift into this, oh, now I'm channeling, now I'm spiritual, so I'm going to get rid of, I need to cut off my ego or kill the ego. And it's like, the ego is part of you.
Right.
And my ego and my personality has come through and really helped connect in readings and connect in those spaces. Because it's like we were saying, if you're going into a space and your ego isn't there, and this other person is embodied mainly in those energies, you're not going to connect. I mean,
Right.
there's going to be, if you're sitting on your pedestal looking down on someone, then how much are you capable of helping them if you're not able to meet on the same level? And we're all on every level. So you can always meet someone where they are as you're in integrity with yourself, because you're on those levels too.
Right. Well, you know, I can talk to you all day because we've done
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Anyway, we probably better go. But thank you for sharing all of your
Thank you so much for
perspective.
having me.
Yeah, and I'll
It was
put
great to be here.
your contact information
Awesome.
in the comments. And yeah, all
Thank
right.
you so much, Sally Love.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye.